Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of My Community. I'm here with Rashan Bryant. Rashan, how you feeling today, big guy?
I'm doing great, buddy, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure interacting with you, seeing you, and shooting the shit, as it were. So today's topic, before we get into it, is obviously faith and spirituality. And I know, Rashan, this is a deep topic to you because you're an author in that realm, as well as it's something that I believe the first time we talked, this is something that's close to your heart, so to speak. So, Rashan, I know I said I was going to give you an intro, but I feel like people are going to get to know you real well on this podcast, my guy. So why don't you dive in, my guy?
No problem at all. And again, John, thanks again for having me on. You took most of my good thunder, but yes, as you already said, I am a self-published author. My book is called Welcome to New Haven, The Journey to Enlightenment. And again, thank you again for having me on here, John. I guess we could start with what led me to writing this kind of book. I think as an author, you always have your mind scrambled with so many ways you want to go about writing a book. But why did I hone in on this particular topic? I would say it mainly starts from, my early beginnings. I grew up from a very Baptist background.
Mm-hmm.
My family they were the type of family that were in church 7 days a week. We had children's choir. We had my grandmother a missionary. We had my mother doing choir rehearsals. We had my stepfather working sounding board. So I was always just surrounded by church in that upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just there frequently, hearing the messages and so forth. And then as you get older, you begin to not exactly question your faith, but you meet people of different diverse backgrounds, which kind of opens you up to their sort of experience and connecting with their own spirituality. One of the more pivotal moments that opened my mind up to other people's walks of life and embracing their spirituality is when I was working at a fast food place. I was working at Wendy's, actually, and I was working the drive-through window. And as you can imagine, that it can get hectic there.
Absolutely,
the clock is ticking. You're trying to get these junior bacon cheeseburgers out as quick as you can and everything else. And here I am frantically. I got a line piling up, and the cook, who's my sort of support to help me get these orders out, he's of Muslim faith.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know this about the Islamic faith, but they pray, I want to say 5 times a day.
Oh, okay.
And they literally bring with them a small, you could say, rug.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And
yes.
So I didn't know this. I'm a 16-year-old teenager working the drive-thru, and around a certain time, his alarm goes off on his watch, and he goes, "Excuse me." He leaves me to go in the back to pull out, and I'm watching him pull out his rug as he then gets on his knees and begins to pray towards Mecca. And he's doing his prayer, and I got 10 cars waiting for me, and I'm sitting here going, has this guy lost his mind? Like, what is going on right now? And, thankfully, my manager says, where is he at? And I'm like, he's praying. I should be praying because I got this line of cars sitting here. So my manager had to step in and start making the burger. But the thing is, my manager didn't fret because this was understood.
Yeah.
That this is what he had to do. And, once the chaos died down and I spoke to him, I said, hey, man, like, you just stop everything you doing to go pray. And he goes, I feel like I have to. He says, because in my faith, my God has made time for me. So it's only right that I do the same. And I thought to myself, like, wow, here's a person, he prays more times than I do. I pretty much only pray before I eat. I bless my food. Thank you, God, for this meal. I'm about to tear it up. I was like, man, is this guy's faith stronger than my faith? And it kind of opened my eyes up to saying, wow, though we are of different cultures and different religions, we are both practicing a sort of faith to a higher being, to a higher cause. And then
Absolutely.
I was like, wow, we're united in that front. And it's crazy because when you see the news, you see all this division of different religion and all these wars going on with people fighting because of different belief system. You start to wonder where is this fighting coming from if we're all trying to just basically act in that faith of our higher being or act in the faith of love, because each religion promotes love and understanding thy neighbor and being there and supporting one another. So where did this division happen?
Sure.
And again, as I then met my now wife, who she's of the Jewish background.
Okay.
And then I got exposed to her religion. And then what it basically all surmounted to for me was everybody has a different walk of life and how they decide to practice their faith or how they try to achieve their understanding of what faith means to them. But we all have our different traditions and ways of how we go about it, but we're all after the same thing, which is building that relationship with the source to find out who we are as people. Where do we fit in this grand universe? What are we all doing this for? And how can we be better? And it was in that moment of self-reflection that I began my journey of enlightenment. I realized that I couldn't be bound to just my religion. I needed to broaden my mind beyond the scope of religion and look into more in regards to spirituality. Religion is something man sort of categorizes for you, and it kind of boxes you into saying, and this is where division comes from, because you start almost like sports team. My team's better than your team. Your team's is just crap. And we get into this, back and forth where it's like, you guys are missing the bigger message. You're missing the bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And that's what got me on this path. And I wanted to create a book. And I'm sorry, John, I'm talking too much.
No,
I need you to say.
Keep going. Rashan, this is great.
I am in the kitchen right now. I am cooking right now.
Keep going, Rashan.
Right, stay with me. I promise I'm getting to the point. No. So, and more or less, like, I think, though we walk up different lives, we all are after the same thing. Like I said, with my journey in trying to understand my own spirituality and understanding, I wanted to craft a story that will unify all of us, that will basically say, let's just drop the walls down. Let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about what is it that you want to bring to society. What do you want to bring to this world? And so my book centers on a character. His name is Malachi. And I chose that name because it was actually the name I was going to name my son. But we went with Mason. But Malachi was a name that I was always fond of because it means messenger of God in Hebrew. So I was like, wow, I would like to be a messenger, not a person who acts as God, but just a messenger to help people understand what it is to have a relationship with God or have a relationship with a higher being that you want to identify with.
Sure.
So this book, I wanted to, one, capture three things. One, teach about asking the tough questions that people need to ask about themselves. And that is, get out of your box of religion and seeing what is it, the relationship that you're trying to build with God, first and foremost, or your creator or whoever you identify with. The second thing was to inspire my children. I think, once you have kids, your mindset of mortality sets in, and you start to wonder, what are my children going to remember me for? And what is something that will stand the test of time? And I felt like when you write a book, it stands the test of time. When I'm gone from here, hundreds of years later, that message, that book, as long as there are humans existing, that book will be out there to convey to somebody and hopefully convey to generations after me. And I wanted that message so that people could have the enlightenment that I am still in pursuit of. And hopefully my book will inspire their journey as well. And lastly, I just wanted this book as a sort of this book has been something, or this story has been something that's been on my mind for years. Like you, John, I grew up reading comic books. I grew up watching anime. I grew up wanting to see these heroes, and I felt that I could craft a hero of my own.
Sure.
But at the same time, not be so surface level with the hero. I wanted to dive deeper into a bigger message at play. So the book is sort of layered. It's a story, yes, of a man who's trying to save the world, from total destruction, and he has all these special abilities. But on the subtext level, it is also about his belief system being challenged and him having to break from reality to think differently than when he currently thinks in order for him to achieve the greatness that he is to try to achieve.
That's beautiful, man. No,
I talk way too much. Rashan, in the kitchen too long. I told you, you're gonna have to start limiting me. I'm gonna need a sign, shoot a flare gun, something.
Dude, that was awesome. Like, first and foremost, like,
this is not rehearsed. That was just
that was just from the heart. I loved every second of it. Yeah, like, folks, just so you know, when I do my podcast, I basically tell my guests, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do like a moment where it's like, yeah, you guys have the floor and we just go. So that was just Rashan just going.
I was going. You need to put me back on the rails. Where do you want to go, John? Get back in the driver's seat.
But no, dude, I totally get what you're saying because obviously I talk about it as well in my book where my faith journey and spirituality journey lies because I was raised Catholic, and I went to a church every Sunday. I went to CCD. I was confirmed, and for me, I always loved the ability of freedom of choice. Right. I felt for my purposes, it was I was indoctrinated in that. In that kind of belief system. And I have nothing necessarily against Christianity, but again, religion as a whole, I think is always a bit of a sticky wicket because it is that man-made construct where it's gatherings of beings into certain beliefs that is exclusive instead of inclusive.
Yes,
and
there, like you said it.
Yes, and therein lies the problem because I think it was something like George Carlin talks about it, man, where he talks about like religion as a whole, like it's a dangerous game because the bigger the group, the more dangerous like the players or whatever that the case may be. But I probably totally misquoted him, so don't Google me or George Carlin. But the thing that I really got from that kind of a message is I think it should be more of a personal journey, and you should really allow yourself to kind of decide for yourself. Like I don't necessarily believe that any of these ideologies are wrong. Like I don't think that that Jesus is just the guy, or that Muhammad is the guy, or God is the guy. Again, I think we're all on the same team, man. Yeah. And we all just want to help each other. And I talked about this with my my buddy pretty recently, where I was saying, the way I view these people of higher power and higher beings, so to speak, is like I assume like you Rashan, that you have a good support network, correct? Yeah. I'm very very lucky in the fact that I have a lot of people I could call on for myself, because I have a pretty big network of people that I trust and that love me and want to help me when needed, so to speak. And I feel like for them, they're no different. I don't necessarily deify them. Like I don't necessarily think that I want to pray to them specifically or something like that. But on the flip side, I will like have a conversation in my head where it's like, yo, Jesus, SpongeBob, Superman, I need your help, guys. Like I'm struggling right now. If you could give me some sort of guidance, and maybe that is my form of prayer, because I don't know if you noticed when you walked in, I have on my my fireplace mantle what I call the super best friends.
Okay.
That's cute. And it's an homage to South Park, because they had like it was like Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and like all the characters of religious lore. But I like added a few people, and I was like, yeah, like we're gonna have SpongeBob, we're gonna have Superman, and like all these characters. And what these beings, what these people of our childhood, of our lives do for me is I admire them, and they motivate me ideally to be a better person.
Okay, this is interesting, John. No, I'm finding this very fascinating. So just so I'm clear.
Yes, yeah.
Your perception of like a higher being isn't exactly a grand person in the sky. More so is the people in your life who resonate with you and guide you and almost act as like spiritual vessels for you as that support system to help you on your journey.
Exactly. And I feel like because everyone has their own journey, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like I don't know if there's necessarily a name for what I believe in or something like that. It's John's whimsical imagination or some shit like that.
Yeah,
but
John and Friends. It's okay. That's the book of John and Friends.
Yeah, the book of John and Friends. But I believe that this is how I've been like guided, and like for me personally, I know that these beings, like these magical creatures, like I don't know, man. Like now hold on. Okay. Yeah, before we totally go off the rails.
we are in Wonderland right now.
Dude, one of my philosophies, because I just so you guys know, the way me and Rashan know each other is we met through the gym. Mm-hmm. Rashan, am I wrong in saying that every time I'm at the gym, I wear some sort of pop culture figure or some
absolutely
cartoon character?
Yes.
I firmly believe, dude, and you can quote me on this, and hopefully I'm right because I'm wrong about so many things in life. But I firmly believe in our time, we're gonna come to a place where like these characters that I speak of are on the same plane as us, man. And I can't give you a time frame. I don't know when this will happen, but I believe like it'll be like Who Framed Roger Rabbit land in our world. And
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you think like animated people or figures are going to be walking amongst us
one day.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you crazy, John. I do believe that a world exists.
Okay.
So we can go really crazy with this if you want. I feel like this is a rabbit hole that we're going to totally go off this topic of faith and spirituality. But all right, so how about this? So in my book, the book is so I don't refer to the higher being as God. I refer to the being as the creator.
Okay.
So it's the creator who basically molds all of this, and we're basically all extensions of the creator's consciousness.
Okay.
And everything that we create in some form or way does exist. It just may not exist in the universe that we coexist in. But every creative thought you have is a form of energy, and it does exist in a different plane of existence. So it's possible, like you said, you might have a world where all your Sesame Street characters, John, they all exist. And maybe when you leave this plane of existence, you can go over there and high five Count Dracula, eat cookies with Cookie Monster, and have the time of your life. That might be your heaven.
Rashan, that is the dream.
But let me bring it back. So,
okay.
So, I would say, it's always interesting whenever I see people, or meet people. I like meeting people who don't have any faith at all. I love that. I don't criticize them because again, I think everybody has their own walk in life, and everybody has their own self-discovery that they need to come to terms with.
Sure. Absolutely.
No one's religious until you clog the toilet at somebody else's house.
Yes.
Then everybody's religious.
It's totally true, man. Please God go down.
Yeah, please go down.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to keep serious, but because I do feel like there's a message. So what I'm trying to say is that I think, for a long I think sometimes the people of no faith, when you have no faith, I think it, as much as I respect that that's their journey, I do think it's the easier route to take. Faith is hard.
It absolutely is.
Faith is hard. Faith is to believe in something, to just know that something is going to work out. And there's more points in my life, the lowest points in my life. I do have a support system now, but my childhood wasn't as such. I could tell you today, I don't have a relationship with my mother. I don't have a relationship with my father. I don't have a relationship with my stepfather. My childhood was quite different. And when I had no one, I know it was nothing but faith that secured my ability to move forward.
Absolutely.
Because you hear about it all the time with struggling people, people struggling with narcotics, people struggling with alcohol. When they've lost everyone, for some reason, they all turn to this higher calling that helps them to move forward and help others. And we just see it time and time again. But I think it's hard for us to kind of, again, wrap our minds around, oh, I got to believe in the now. Like, I got to believe what's happening to me right now. And what's happening right now is that I'm unhappy. What's happening right now is I'm struggling. So what is it if I have this faith and it's going to be all okay when it's not okay? Like, you know, believing in the unseen. It's challenging. Like, because then you as humans, we fear of being let down. You know, as humans, we're always prone to more negativity. It's just us, like, if you go on Facebook and you post something about yourself, John, you post your book and you say, here's my book. It's all about reaching out to people, inspiring people, and helping people to be better day to day. You're going to get 10 people that say, John, this is great. What an accomplishment. Congratulations. We love you, man. We love that spirit. And then you're going to get the one person that says, your book's too long, John. You know, this book, I don't like the way it's written. And guess what? You would totally forget all of the 10 other comments and focus solely on that person who's criticizing your book. And you know why? It's because humans, from, you know, as hunters and gatherers, we're always preparing for the worst. So what it is, we run to the worst. We run to the negativity in hopes that we could better prepare for it. And when you constantly run to the negativity, you can't focus on the goodness of the faith. And this is what turns people from the faith. And then you have religion, like we said before, kind of doctrinates and mandates you to follow a certain code. And that makes people more resistant because they don't want to feel confined in how they should believe. Exactly. And so now you got this almost, and like, you feel like religion is like a bit of an antagonist. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think religion is a great way to, as an introduction, to open your mind to its spirituality. Sure. But I don't think it should be the end all. I do think it is a journey and that you have to constantly seek. And you know, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, seeking ye shall find, knocking the door will be made open, which basically means you can't just rely on one place to just get all your information. Always seek ways that you can learn more. And like you're doing, John, interviewing and talking to people, expanding your mind to different areas to help in your development and the development of your soul and your being of who you are, because that will eventually lead you to what you're looking for. That void that you're trying to fill is basically the love of a higher being that, you know, is difficult to believe in as it is to believe in Santa Claus. Of course. But again, if we could believe in the world where possibly Sesame Street characters could live in another plane of existence, then there's definitely a possibility we could believe in a higher being that is creating all of these things.
It's definitely a possibility, man. Again, Rashan, when I was saying that, I wanted to be candid. Like, I was like, I'm so wrong about so many different. Like,
your humility is great, John.
Yeah, I can't tell you enough how many times I've been wrong in life. So I don't never quote me on anything because chances are I am so off base.
This disclaimer is brought to you by John Garrett.
But one thing I wanted to follow up with you on that I totally agree, and although it's not faith and spirituality based, it's I think important for the growth mindset, which maybe is a part of the faith and spirituality mindset. You talked about the Facebook post. If I ever went on Facebook and did that like a post, and then
about your
notice the one note bad add a note about someone saying it's too long or whatever. That's 100% true. That we think that because there's something that always stuck in my mind. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Rashan, where it's a teacher who purposely did 10 multiplication questions. And this was a real experiment. She did 10 multiplication questions, and they were like 1 times 1 equals 1, 2 times 2 equals 4, so on and so forth. And for 9 times 9, she did 82 instead of 81.
Yeah.
Everyone called her out on the 82.
Yeah.
And she said, let this be a lesson to you guys. Whenever you mess up in life, they're going to notice the one flaw that you have. Rather than the entire.
You could be right 99 out of 100 times.
Exactly. it's such a weird thing, but we are conditioned to think that way,
We
right?
are. Mm-hmm.
And it's a tragic thing. Like, I'll talk about, my mom is reading my book, and I don't know if you've dived in, Rashan. I say some personal. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm not all the way in because, again, I'm chipping my way through it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm also reading another book because I'm in a book club. But I am reading your
very
book.
nice.
Yeah. So, but yes, I am reading your book.
Yes.
Which I want to talk to you more about, but we can keep going. Finish your thought.
Yeah. I talk about some really personal and dark stuff at points, but for the most part, it is about motivation and helping people and just honestly finding my own path. It was never meant to hurt anyone or anything like that.
Yep.
Like there was literally a chapter that I wrote that I was manic on. And I end the chapter with the next chapter prefacing it saying, yeah, that was manic me, by the way.
Yeah.
So like, if you ever see someone in that kind of light, like, help a brother out, so to speak.
Yeah.
But my mom noted, that she's like, someone in our inner circles has read some of your book and they said X, Y, and Z about it. And I was like, yeah, but did they see the other messages that I said in the book? And it was like that moment where exactly what we were talking about. It doesn't matter that I maybe painted a nicer picture throughout the majority of the book.
Does not matter.
Forever tainted for X, Y, and Z that I said in this.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's good to have those moments and purposely do it, because for me, I want to show that in my book especially that I'm not a perfect person. I'm a very flawed individual, and I feel like us as human beings need to accept that as a whole. Like none of us are perfect.
Absolutely.
I firmly believe that at the end of the day, we're all just on our own quest of self-discovery and self-fulfillment. And obviously, some do more nefarious things than others. But at the end of the day, it's just it's a learning experience for us all, and it's whether we accept the fact that I guess it's going to be a tough journey no matter what we do. Is the hardest part of it all. I don't know.
No. Well said, man. I agree. I do think just centering on my thoughts on faith. I think we as people, I saw this article once say, the ocean makes up about 80% of the earth. Humans have only discovered about 33% of it, which means for the hundreds of thousands of years we have existed on this planet,
Right.
we barely hit a third of our understanding of the ocean where we live. What gives us the confidence to believe in things that we still don't understand?
Yeah.
And I think that faith is that area. I think we don't know, why is it that we dream? We don't know where the dreams are just simply our worst fears or our secret joys or our subconscious playing tricks on us, or our dreams an escape to a different alternate world where I exist in this different plane of existence and I'm walking in that faith and I'm seeing what's going on over there. Or is it a way that my spirituality is trying to connect me to prepare me for what's ahead? There's so many different interpretations. Absolutely. And I just think that part of the journey of your life is not thinking you have everything figured out. And it's not about being perfect or it's just being the best version of yourself and trying to be better every single day. And I think when you walk by faith, it gives you a sort of moral compass to walk in that way. And I think, otherwise you're just walking, you're wandering. You're not walking. You're wandering because you're lost. But I think when you know your focal point, or when you know what your faith is and and again, this is not to say, if you don't believe in this, then you're completely off. No. My thing is a matter of everyone needs a sort of, a centerpiece or a focal point.
Sure.
And I do think that when you have that focal point, everything else kind of falls into place because you know what your center is. And for me, my center was building that relationship and that understanding. I think everybody imagines that when God or someone speaks to you, it's going to be like this Morgan Freeman booming voice coming in the background, like, John, this is me. Like he's going to talk to you like you're Moses. And for me, it doesn't work that way. To me, it's more about sometimes when I hear
Rashan, what's up, buddy?
It's like, yo, man, what you up to today, man?
How about those Knicks, man?
Can you believe the Knicks blew that game? And also, everybody has their own, and I do believe this, everybody has a different relationship with their higher being. And I think sometimes the voice is more, sometimes you'll see it when you're doing something, maybe it's around the house, you have these moments where you're talking to yourself and you say, man, am I crazy? I'm really or you're walking in the park, you're like, this is crazy, and I'm talking to myself. That's not you talking. That is someone talking through you. And that is something that figuring out in your mind when you're walking in the park or you're walking down the street, that conversation that's happening in your head, we all think it's just my mind playing tricks on me. No, that's something talking to you. But we throw it aside like, oh, my imagination is crazy. It's not your imagination. And I think when you're more spiritually bound, those conversations become more and more in depth. And then you start building that connection, which gets stronger and stronger. And then everything just starts to fall into that alignment of your journey in life. So
beautiful. Dude, there was a moment that I think you'll appreciate. I was at LA.
Okay.
And I was on the ab machine, and I guess I looked like despondent or sad or whatever the case may be. I think I just had sweat in my eyes, but I was going through something because I'm in a transitional phase. I just left my job. I told you I'm pursuing this entrepreneurial stuff full time. I have a kid on the way. There's a lot, dude. There's a lot happening. A lot happening. So this young lady passes me, and she passes me once. I didn't think anything of it. She passes me again, and she asked me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Yeah, and she says, "Oh, you look like you're suffering," and I was like, No, I'm okay. She's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure. Have a blessed day.
Wow.
And dude, I had like a moment where I was like, the fuck just happened? Yeah. And I did like I finished my workout. I was like, I should like thank her or something. Like, even though like, I wasn't even in that spot, it felt like
it changed your whole perspective.
Yeah. And she was gone, bro. You can't write this shit, bro. No.
I love this stuff. Oh my God, John, this is so good. This ties back to your original point about your support system.
Yeah.
Those people were put in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
They were put. Go ahead, John. Finish it.
Yo, man, this is great. Yeah, no. I knew you were gonna appreciate it. That's why I had to cap this off with this. But I looked for her. Totally gone. And dude, the thing about our gym is, Rashan, correct me if I'm wrong, we see the same 30 people all the time.
Same.
I've never seen this girl the entire time we've been at the gym.
Wow.
And I haven't seen her since.
Isn't that something?
Dude.
You never know who's going to walk into your life to shift your perspective. Again, I didn't always have this sort of mindset. And I don't want to come across as somebody who has it all figured out, because I'm still working on me. And I'm like you, I'm still flawed, and I'm still trying to get better. But I had someone who came to me at that low point in my life and put me on this sort of path. She came into my life, and she's the one that kind of like inspired me to say, I kept having these thoughts of like, when I was still challenged with my religion, of like, I'm going to go to hell because I've done X, Y, Z. I'm suffering because I didn't do this right. I didn't pray enough. I didn't do this enough. And because I was bound by the religion. And then when she came into my life, she says, break from that. Understand, what do you think God thinks of you? Like, what do you think your relationship with God is? Forget the religion, or forget what you think is mandated to you. What do you think your relationship is? Do you think God loves you? Do you believe God loves you? Do you believe you're alive because God loves you? And she kind of put me, I'm sorry, I hit the mic. She kind of put me on that road of guiding me towards the spirituality route and just building that connection and then sort of resetting myself. And we're still close friends today. We don't get to see each other as often because, she moved and everything. But, we check in from time to time. But I feel like, and we met through work at a job that I definitely left. I wasn't even there that long. Might have been there maybe a year and a half, and I left to got another opportunity somewhere else. But we maintained that connection, and she's sort of been like that spiritual thread that kind of like grounded me. And I do think as we go through this journey of life, even how we're meeting right now, John, I think people walk into your life to help rock your perspective, open your mind, and put you on the path that you're supposed to be on, which is going to lead you to being a greater version of who you are today. So that story of that person just seeing you, that emotional intelligence, and reading your spiritual energy to just see that this is a person of great light who's going through something and just felt the need to say something to you. Because you know how it is in the gym, John. We don't like to approach it. No, at the gym. We're like, this person's in their zone. I don't want to mess up their set. I don't want to mess up their break. I damn sure ain't going to go to somebody, hey, are you sad?
No, definitely not, bro.
So for her to go out of her way to just say, hey, I don't mean to be rude or interrupt, but are you okay? Like, wow, that's profound to me.
Dude, it was definitely a moment.
She also probably thought you were hot, but we're going to keep she was like, he is so hot when he's sad. Like, my God. He is sweating. He is killing the abs. Hallelujah. Be blessed, brother, because you are.
Oh my God. I firmly believe, and I think to wrap this faith and spirituality and podcast on a nice bow, you get exactly kind of what you put in the universe. So for example, like you said, for me, I'm looking for this support network from the masses to help guide me on the hero's journey, so to speak. And I do get it a lot of the time. I get what I need. I get the inspiration, the motivation that I need. Again, even today, you coming today, I feel better. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good, dude. It's been awesome. And I know in my bones, and I probably for you as well, that these beliefs that we have, it is almost like whatever you do put in the universe, you do get back in return. And I know that whatever it's like that Rolling Stones song, you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. It's so true. And I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And before I do my sign off, is there anything else you want to add, big guy?
Yeah. Again, John, thank you again for having me on. I didn't know what to expect, coming to do this podcast, but I am truly grateful and honored that you let me be a part of this journey and experience with you. And, I'm happy I can contribute. And, if I could just leave, I guess, a lesson for anyone listening, the journey of my life it's been up and down, like most of the people listening probably going through. In my 20s, I was worried about my future. Wondering what I was going to become. What is my purpose? How is this all going to end? And then in my 30s, I stopped worrying about the future because I kind of settled into a flow of my life and I kind of knew where the trajectory was going. So my 30s was spent sort of just reconciling my past and just looking at the traumas and trying to bring resolution to a lot of those different things. And then now that I'm into my 40s, I'm focusing on the now. And I'm just cherishing, each and every moment of each day. And I think now I'm in a good place. When you get to your 40s, everyone around you is older as well. And you start seeing a lot of people who started on your journey when you're younger, and they're either no longer around or they're going through much more difficulty than you could ever imagine. And you just become more and more grateful for how far you've made it. And you start looking ahead and just thanking God that you made it to another day. And I just hope that everybody just lives in that moment of just cherishing every day, bring resolution to your past, and just embrace the future.
Rashan, you're the man, my guy.
You're the man, John.
Dude, I
got the JG on the chest. Let's go.
oh man,
That's awesome.
You're the one big on yours, man.
I gotta get one. I'll be the sidekick. I'll be the Robin.
No, there's only Batman and Batman in my universe, son.
Got you.
But
that's awesome.
It's always a treat having these wonderful guests. And next time on My Community, we'll have Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee duke it out.